Hello, this is Lisa Doherty, and this is my presentation on understanding ADHD. ADHD is a very real and complex disorder that every teacher will have to deal with at some point during their teaching career. It is something that you can deal with that could either make or break your classroom structure. It could add chaos to your classroom if you don't know how to handle the student or students with ADHD. If you can effectively deal with the student, it can bring no disruption to your classroom because they will be able to function and succeed into your classroom. It is something that is usually diagnosed by the ages of 7, and it can affect every student. It can affect students with different economic backgrounds, different genders. It can affect your basically every student can be diagnosed. It doesn't matter where their background comes from. So we're going to start right here on how many students with ADHD are currently being served in the U.S. An estimated 6.4 American children from the ages of 4 to 17 have been diagnosed with ADHD. That is a very, very large amount, and it continues to increase each and every year. And this will explain that it has gone up by like 42% in the years of 2003 to 2011. That is a significant raise of about 42%. Some people have said that the increases have been linked to an diagnosis of children with ADHD. I believe this is true because everybody is always looking for a quick fix. And sometimes you will jump to the conclusion that the student has ADHD when you haven't looked at all the facts of why they may have the certain characteristics that they're displaying in the classroom. Other people have said that it can be linked to poor sleeping habits. It can be also linked to the exposure to more entertainment media because they're getting their brains stimulated by video games and different technology. But the other one that they have also used is that there's a lack of structure in the parenting. And all of these ones are ones that I have like an issue with because I don't believe any of them really will tie into the increase of ADHD. I believe it's basically something that is, it's a disorder. So either you have it or you don't have it. These factors can also play into how they affect the children. If you don't have good sleeping habits and you're exposed to tons of entertainment, it's also going to affect your schooling as well to make you more distracted and not pay attention as much. What are some of the characteristics of students with ADHD? Some of them can be impulsive, which means they will fidget or squirm. They have trouble sitting in their seat. They're all over the place. They're bouncing all over the room. They're extremely impatient. They don't want to listen to instructions or they can't concentrate on the instructions. The other one is to be inattentive, and that means they make careless mistakes. They overlook simple details in the instructions. They get distracted very easy, like if there's a noise across the room, they're going to look over in that direction, try to see what's going on. They have difficulty following instructions. This is one of the reasons I picked the background for my PowerPoint, is that it has all these colors and different designs in it. That would be very distracting to a student with ADHD because they want to get pulled into all the different directions of the colors. But also a student could have a combination of all of these. They could be impulsive and attentive, and that makes it double hard for them to succeed in the classroom. Do all students with ADHD demonstrate the same characteristics or degree of behavior? That is definitely not true. You could have a combination of impulsive, you could have a combination of being inattentive, or you could just have one of the characteristics. You may have one characteristic where you just can't pay attention, or you could have an extreme measure where you have all of those characteristics within a student. ADHD is covered under a different category than all the other ones. It's not a specific learning disability. It goes under a category called an other health impairment. Many children with ADHD will also have another kind of specific learning disability, so then it can kind of tie in together. So then when they get an IEP, it will incorporate their specific learning disability, but it will also address the issues that they have with their ADHD and what things they can do for them. Some different class-wide interventions is, instead of giving a whole bunch of steps together in an instruction, you could break it down step by step for the child with ADHD, and then also have those students repeat the directions back to you, so that way you can understand and make sure that they understand what they need to do. One thing that we had did as a special ed para is always give them extra time for completing the task. Set the timer. If they didn't have it done within that time, allow another extra set of 30 minutes, and then when that time came off, maybe move on to the next step, but always come back to it to finish it later. One thing that was beneficial is in junior high, we always had an assignment notebook, so we would take time during the study hall period, and we would organize that assignment notebook to make sure they had all their assignments written down and the due dates. Another one is to set a designated day to have the student clean out his or her desk, book bag, or other workspaces. And another one would be to show them the model of a completed project. Out of all these strategies, I really like for elementary to set a designated day to have the student clean out their desk, book bag, and other workspaces. If I was to work with junior high students, I would really want to focus on helping them organize their assignment notebook, or possibly color coding different assignments so they knew that everything in pink was for science, everything for blue was for math, any way to make it more organized for them, because I think that's the main goal, is to try to keep them organized and on task. I wanted to finish up with some quotes that I think are really pertinent to ADHD. And then I also wanted to talk about some famous people that have had ADHD and how they overcame it. My first quote is, "The ADHD brain is like a Ferrari engine with the bicycle brakes." And I think this particularly pertains to my husband. He has ADHD and he loves cars, so I thought this was a good tie-in. His brain is always going 90 miles an hour, and he's been diagnosed with ADHD. And he says one of the hardest things is for his brain to be going 90 miles an hour, but then he's not only able to do a little bit at a time anyway, like the bicycle brakes. You can go really, really fast, but then you also have to slow down, and that's extremely hard for people with ADHD. They only know one speed, and that's fast, especially for those impulsive type people. And then this was the quote that I wanted to focus on here, if I can pull it up, was, "People with ADHD find more success by focusing on their natural talents and then by developing a plan to make those talents stronger." And this is from the ADD Coach Academy. I believe this is very important because ADHD doesn't have to drag you down. You can be very successful with ADHD. It could even make you strive to focus harder and achieve all the things you wanted to do. And this ties into some famous people that have had ADHD and had great, great success. First one I found was Bill Gates. He was the creator and founder of Microsoft. He was diagnosed with ADHD, and without Microsoft, we wouldn't have Apple. We wouldn't have many of the things, well, it wasn't Apple, but we wouldn't have many of the things that we use on our computers on a day-to-day basis. And then we have Albert Einstein. He developed the theory of relativity. He was very scatterbrained, as they say, but he was able to focus on the task and achieve many, many great successes. And then one of my all-time favorite basketball players was Michael Jordan. He, I never knew this. This was new to me. He has ADHD. And after retirement, he found it very, very hard to just focus on one or two things. So he jumped into a whole bunch of different business ventures, and he has to keep busy all the time because that's part of the things of his ADHD. If he's not busy, then he gets bored, and then he's not able to make the decisions that he needs to be the successful person he is today. In conclusion, ADHD is something that I know I'll face as a teacher, and I know it's something I have worked with in the past, and the students can be reached and they can be successful in the classroom. It's just how you approach it and help them achieve the goals that they need. Thank you.